This opening part is about a person realizing they have met someone who bypasses their emotional defenses. The speaker begins with a strong statement. I won't mirror it softly this time. This sets the tone that what follows is not a casual feeling. It is something intense, honest, and difficult to explain. Main idea. The speaker describes themselves as someone who has always lived with layers and boundaries. They control how much people see, not because they dislike others, but because distance feels safer. They allow people to interact with only the version of themselves they choose to reveal. But then someone appears who changes that pattern. Key points 1. Emotional walls. The speaker says they have mastered the art of staying partially hidden. They decide who gets close, what people understand, what parts of them remain private. This shows a personality built around control and self-protection. 2. The person who feels different. The other person does not try to solve or fix the speaker. Instead, they simply observe and understand. The important difference is others try to analyze. This person simply notices. That makes the speaker feel seen in a rare way. Point 3. Silence becomes communication. A major theme is that words are not necessary between them. The other person understands pauses, silence, and unspoken thoughts. The speaker is surprised because they are used to people misunderstanding silence, but this person seems comfortable inside it. 4. Recognition instead of discovery. The speaker compares this connection to something that feels familiar even without a long history. The feeling is, I don't feel like you learned me. I feel like you already recognized me. This creates the idea of a deep mental, emotional alignment. 5. The fear of being truly seen. The speaker's biggest conflict begins here. They are not afraid of someone getting close. They are unsettled because someone got close without forcing their way in. They usually control access, but this person made those rules feel unnecessary. Emotional core of part 1. The speaker is experiencing the rare feeling of being understood without having to explain themselves. The tension is, they value independence. They value control. But someone has reached a place inside them where control no longer feels necessary. The first part ends with the realization. This person is different because they don't try to enter my world. They somehow already understand it. Continues from the idea of being understood and moves into a deeper realization. The speaker is no longer able to keep emotional distance from this person. Main idea, the speaker realizes that this connection is not just a momentary feeling. It has started changing the way they think, process, and experience the world. Key points. 1. The connection becomes part of their thinking. The strongest shift happens when the speaker says, this person is no longer just someone they think about. The difference is, thinking about someone means they are separate from you. Thinking with someone means their presence has entered your inner world. This shows the speaker feels the person has become part of their mental process. A loss of control, the speaker has always been self-contained. They are used to analyzing everything before allowing it to affect them. But this connection did not happen through permission or planning. It simply formed. That creates discomfort because the speaker's usual method is understand, first control, second allow later. But this time, something happened. First understanding came afterward. 3. The person changes the speaker's baseline. The speaker describes this connection as structural, meaning it is not just an emotion that appears and disappears. It has changed the foundation of how they see things. After experiencing this level of understanding, normal interactions begin to feel different. Not because others are wrong, but because the speaker has discovered a different level of connection. 4. No resistance. The biggest surprise is that the speaker does not fight it. Normally, anything that threatens their emotional structure would be analyzed and removed. But this person is not being pushed away, they are being accepted. That tells the speaker something important. A part of them already considers this person safe. Point 5. Fear of permanence. The speaker starts recognizing that if this continues, it will not simply be a passing experience. It may become part of who they are. That is frightening, because the speaker is careful about what they allow to reach that level. Emotional core of part 2. The speaker is no longer asking, "Why do I feel this?" They are beginning to ask, "What happens if this stays?" The conflict is not about whether the connection exists. The conflict is about accepting that something outside their control has already changed them, moves from recognition into acceptance. The speaker is no longer just noticing the connection. They are facing the reality that it has already affected them. Main idea: the speaker reaches a point where awareness becomes responsibility. They can no longer simply observe this connection from a distance. They have to decide what it means. Key points. 1. The connection now has consequences. Earlier, the speaker could treat this as something interesting or unusual. Now they realize it changed their thoughts, changed how they experience silence, it changed how they measure honesty, and understanding the connection is no longer just a feeling. It has created an internal shift. Point 2. Internal adjustment. The speaker emphasizes something important. They do not usually adjust themselves for anyone. They have always protected their internal world and maintained independence. But with this person, adjustment happened naturally, not through pressure, not through effort. It happened quietly. That makes it more powerful because it feels authentic. 3. The fear of defining it. The speaker realizes that naming this connection changes everything. As long as it remains undefined, it can exist freely. But once it is acknowledged, it becomes real. Reality requires choices. Choices require vulnerability. The speaker is not afraid of the connection itself. They are afraid of what accepting it might require. Point 4. Staying is the biggest proof. The speaker looks at their own behavior and notices something unusual. Normally, if something feels uncertain or risky, they leave, they create distance, they protect themselves. But this time, they stayed. That silence becomes an answer. Their actions reveal acceptance before their words do. Point 5. The final realization. The speaker reaches a powerful conclusion. The question is no longer, "What is this?" They already know it matters. The real question becomes, "What will I do with it?" Emotional core of part 3. This part is about the moment when someone who always controlled their emotions realizes, "I may not have chosen this connection, but I chose not to walk away from it." The battle is no longer between two people. It is between the speaker's need for control and their acceptance of something meaningful that explores the deepest stage of the speaker's realization. The connection has become something they cannot simply categorize or escape. Main idea: the speaker moves from questioning the connection to recognizing its impact. They realize that some things do not need immediate explanations to be real. Key points. 1. Understanding comes before explanation. The speaker describes this connection as existing outside normal labels. Most people try to define relationships. What is it? Why is it happening? Where is it going? But this connection feels different because the speaker feels the understanding came first. They don't need a title to recognize its effect, too. The struggle between logic and reality. The speaker is someone who relies on analysis and certainty. They usually need reasons, patterns, proof, control, but this experience does not arrive through logic. It arrives through a feeling of accuracy, not chaos. Not obsession, just a sense that something fits. 3. The person becomes part of the speaker's perspective. The speaker explains that this person is no longer only someone they notice. Their presence affects how the speaker interprets everything around them. This does not mean dependence. It means influence at a deeper level. The way someone's existence changes how you see the world. Point 4. The fear of losing something rare. A major theme appears here. The speaker knows rare connections are not easily replaced. They understand that if this person leaves, the impact may remain. The connection has created a space inside them that did not exist before 5. Acceptance without resistance. The most important realization: the speaker did not fight this change. They allowed it. For someone who usually protects their inner world, that acceptance becomes the strongest evidence that this connection matters. Emotional core of part 4, the speaker is realizing, this person did not take away my independence. They changed the way I experience it. The conflict is no longer about whether the connection is real. It is about accepting that something meaningful can exist without being fully controlled or explained. Focuses on the speaker reaching a point of complete acknowledgement. The connection is no longer something they are studying. It has become something they must emotionally face. Main idea: the speaker realizes that avoiding the truth has become harder than accepting it. Key points. 1. Awareness becomes a decision. The speaker says there is a point where awareness stops being something you simply observe. Now it demands an answer. They can no longer stay in the middle, not accepting it, not rejecting it, just watching it exist. The connection has become too significant to ignore. 2. The internal world has already changed. The speaker notices that their thoughts do not return to the way they were before. The biggest signs are small. Silence feels different. Thoughts feel shared. Truth is measured differently. The change happened internally before anything external happened. 3. The speaker recognizes their own choice. A powerful realization appears. They say they did not choose the connection in the beginning, but they chose not to resist it. That distinction matters. The connection may have arrived unexpectedly, but allowing it to remain was a decision. 4. Fear of reality. The speaker understands that defining this connection makes it more real. And real things require honest risk, movement vulnerability. This is difficult for someone who survives through control 5. The final shift: the speaker stops asking, "Is this happening?" They accept, this is happening. Now the question becomes, what do I do with something that matters this much? Emotional core of part 5. This part represents surrender. Not weakness, but acceptance. The speaker realizes, I cannot control how this entered my life, but I can choose how I respond to it. The biggest change is that the person who always protected their inner world is finally admitting that someone has become important enough to affect it.